The Outer Worlds 2 is going to take us on another interstellar adventure, but it doesn't have to go overboard. The planets we'll get to visit in The Outer Worlds 2 should be at least as good as the ones we saw in the first game. But the developers also need to have a clear vision of what they want to achieve with these planets. If they do it right, they can create a universe that blows the first game out of the water. But if they bite off more than they can chew, they might end up with a mess. Don't get me wrong, the first game was a blast. It had some awesome worlds to explore and some cool companions to hang out with. But it also left some things to be desired. There were some missed chances that the first game didn't take advantage of, and the sequel should definitely fix that. There aren't many RPGs that let you travel across space, so there's a lot of potential for The Outer Worlds 2 to stand out from the crowd. The Outer Worlds 2 could be the game that sets the standard for space RPGs. One of the most exciting aspects of The Outer Worlds 2 is the new star system that players will get to explore. But what kind of planets can they expect to find there? Well, based on the first game, there are some criteria that these planets should meet. They should be different from each other in terms of visuals and aesthetics, full of interesting and memorable places and people that make them unique, fun and rewarding to explore, with secrets and surprises to discover. The first game did a great job of creating planets that met these standards, such as the huge ship Groundbreaker and the hostile wastelands of Monarch. Even though there weren't many planets in the Outer Worlds, they were all rich and diverse in their own ways. The sequel should follow this example and build on it, making its planets even more immersive and engaging. The Outer Worlds 2 can also take some inspiration from other games that came out recently. For instance, Starfield had a lot of planets that were generated procedurally, meaning that they were created randomly by an algorithm. This resulted in a huge number of planets that players could explore for hours and hours. However, this also meant that many of these planets felt similar and bland, because they were just a mix of different biomes and elements. Sometimes players could find planets that had something special about them, but most of the time, the planets that were designed by hand were the ones that stood out the most. When Obsidian makes The Outer Worlds 2, they should put a lot of love and care into creating the planets. Instead of having a bunch of planets that are boring and forgettable, they should have fewer planets that are amazing and memorable. Each planet should have a reason to exist in the game, not just as a filler or a backdrop. Some planets might be more important than others for the story or the gameplay, but none of them should feel like a waste of time. The Outer Worlds 2 has a chance to do a lot more with the space RPG genre, but only if the planets are worth exploring. Quality over quantity is the key here. It doesn't matter how big the solar system is, as long as the planets are well made and fun to explore. This game is still a mystery when it comes to gameplay, but we can always imagine what it might be like. One of the things that made the first game so fun was how your choices mattered. You could say and do different things that would affect the outcome of the story. You also had a lot of options to customize your character, from your equipment to your abilities and skills. It felt like a true Western RPG adventure. We hope that The Outer Worlds 2 will build on that foundation and give us even more ways to play. We want more options to tweak our character and experiment with different builds. We also want a longer and richer story. The first game was great, but it felt a bit short. You could finish the main quest in about 12 hours if you ignored the side quests, which left some players wanting more. Even if you did everything, you would only spend about 36 hours in the game. We think that Obsidian could make the sequel more epic by adding more locations or worlds to visit. The first game had a decent amount of places to explore, but we would love to see more planets with different environments and cultures. And of course, we want more companions to join us on our journey. The ones in the first game were mostly cool and fun to talk to, so we hope that Obsidian will keep that up and give us more. The fact that our wish list is basically just asking for more of everything shows how much we enjoyed the original Outer Worlds. If you're a fan of The Outer Worlds and you're hoping to play the sequel on your PS5, I have some bad news for you. The Outer Worlds 2 is not coming to PS5 at all. It's only going to be on Xbox Series X and PC, because Microsoft bought Obsidian in 2018. That means The Outer Worlds 2 is part of the Xbox Game Studios family, and it will be on Xbox Game Pass from the first day it launches. That's great for Xbox and PC gamers, but not so much for PS5 owners. Sorry to disappoint you, but that's how it is. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.